I am joined by Sir Sturdy, Chris, Cliff, and Chat.
There you go.
Hello.
That shit. Nick is on his way.
Hello, kitties, and welcome to Halloween with Sir Sturdy.
That was pretty creepy.
What's up, peeps? Listen, happy Halloween. More importantly, happy Sturdoween. 61 days of Sturdoween is today's the last day, and we're ending it with this fucking epic battle of Freddy versus Jason. Great time. Fun fucking time. Cannot wait to dive into this with all you guys and when Mick gets here as well. But let's go, guys. Let's get into this. Let's get into this night. Let's get into this epic journey that we were on. And again, going all the way back to from getting indie with Sir Sturdy, camping with Sir Sturdy, I feel like this is like when this shit really started like picking up with interest and all that. Us recording more together. It's just been that thing. Happy Halloween, James, and happy Sturdoween.
What up, James?
Yeah, hurry up. We missed
Hi,
you.
James. Welcome back.
I love it. I love it. I love it. But before we get, you know what? What are you guys, not what are you guys doing? How are you guys doing today? And yeah, we'll go around them with that first. How's everybody doing today?
I'm amazing. This has been such a fun week, month. I can't wait till the post-credit scene of this we do on Thursday where we talk about the other movies that we didn't get to. And, you know, just the whole revelation, man, of realizing like all of us, none of us wanted to watch that freaking remake. And then all of us to say that we enjoyed it is just something that blows my mind.
Me too.
Dude, rewatch it.
I don't know if I can.
I love the remake.
Really?
So good.
I love the remake. I was in the minority of all that because, bro, since the beginning, I told you that psychological shit that they did with the whole falling asleep, the pattern, the insomnia, all that shit, that did it for me.
That's fair. What what was I gonna ask?
Hello,
kids. When's the last time you watched the remake of Nightmare on Elm Street?
The first time.
Damn, I listen,
dude. I was the same way, man. I'd only seen it once, and for 13 years, I talked about how much I hated it. But we went back and rewatched it, and even Mick was the same way, and we all really liked it. The script is super tight on that movie.
I say go back and give it another watch.
If it was Robert
and on top of that,
how great it is,
I would say give it another watch and don't let the look of Freddy bother you. That is 100% what took me out of it the first couple times I watched it.
That's what killed me mainly.
But go back, just ignore how he looks and just watch it for what the movie it is, and it's not a bad movie. It's actually a top 4, top 5 for me.
That's
out of that franchise. Well, I mean, look, I like the first 3. And then from the original franchise. Really enjoyed the first 3. Look, you can even say love the first 3, and then I really liked part 7, Wes Craven's New Nightmare. So those 4, and then the remake. The 4, 5, and 6, I can live without them. I would watch them again if I was doing a franchise watch, but other than that, I could live without them.
I think Mick said that he put the remake at 2. I'd put the remake at 3 on my list. But you know, Freddy vs. Jason is a Friday the 13th, a Nightmare on Elm Street movie.
It's both.
No, it's Nightmare on Elm Street movie. Jason is just there to serve the story of Freddy.
It's both.
I don't know. That's a tough call on that one because, I mean, Freddy only kills one person in the whole movie.
Yeah, but everything that Jason does is just to forward Freddy's story.
Yeah, true, but still has a minute. You still have the epic battle. I wish, because we're getting into a little bit, I wish it was darker. That is one thing I wish this movie was a lot darker, creepier, scarier. Like, I wish they went with the Freddy from either the first 3 or New Nightmare as far as, like, more of the scary type than the kind of goofy shit. I think I would have made that. And I enjoyed the movie, don't get me wrong, but I think I would have made a better movie.
I mean, we got an ode to it in that scene where he comes out the water. They made him the demon Freddy.
Yeah,
and I thought they did a good job. He's somewhere in the between the Freddy of 3 and the Freddy of 4.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's fair. That's fair.
So I like it. I like his look in this one a little bit better too, because he like I said about New Nightmare, he just looked too cleaned up, and this one he's back to that fucking like dark, ruggedy look.
Oh, his look was great. That is one thing I can definitely say. His look was great. I'm not mad at the look at all. I'm mad at the look at all. I just wish again if it was more. I'm not saying no jokes at all, but more closer to. I mean, yeah, like I said, within the first 3, as far as how he was, because he even in the first 3 he was funny. We found him funny, especially part 2 and 3 more so. But it wasn't overly over the top. I feel like this was kind of over the top with it.
Yeah, I mean, you got kind of like both sides, like the dark part plus like the goofy one-liner part.
Yeah, I don't mind it, but again, you can still have the one-liners, but just have it a darker tone, because you can have a funny one-liner that's a dark one-liner.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Again, geared to more towards like the first 3, and wasn't. I was talking to Mick about this a little while ago, and he should be on soon. I think he had to go switch rooms and shave his butt hair. But I was telling him,
got on.
See, yeah, he forgot. I like this movie, which is funny saying this, because I said this about the remake of Nightmare on Elm Street. I like this movie more now than I did the last time I watched it. I know that for a fact.
Worst damn gamer ever. Worst damn clown.
This movie falls into the what Dan was saying last week, where he just doesn't know what audiences like anymore. And this is one of those movies. Like, I like a lot of things, I do, but I can usually, I know, like, okay, I get it. I get why you didn't like that. Like, I understand why most people don't like this. Freddy vs. Jason, I don't understand why the people that hate this movie, because in my opinion, this is the best that the story is perfect for how they brought these two together, and it delivers on exactly what we wanted. Freddy and Jason eventually fighting.
I mean, yeah, we do get the fight. I don't say it's exactly what we wanted with everything, but we do get the fight.
I mean, it's just what it promised, I guess is what I meant to say.
No, I get what you mean, though. I get what you mean.
Are we talking about the movie now, or are we...
We're going to jump into our rating, so we just kind of dove into it a little bit, but...
Oh, okay. I'll save mine then.
You still have the Never Hike Alone background, Sturdy.
Yeah, I know. I'm messing with it. A little high, Jason.
It's Halloween. Get with it.
It's Sturdoween. Sturdoween over here. And that's what we're talking about, so you guys know. This is exactly what we're talking about today, right now.
The fucking finale, finally.
Yes. the finale. And this will be back again next year.
Oh, and on Thursday for the post-credit.
What'd you say?
It'll be back on Thursday for the post-credit wrap-up.
That is very, very... Well, yes, Jason X. I did mention this on the earlier episode, but we're going to be doing Friday the 13th, Part 8, 9, and 10 to wrap it all up, because, Freddy only had the 8 movies and Jason had a few more. So we're going to wrap it up with those 3 this Thursday, and then next week will be some other shit. I'll figure it out. Or next Tuesday. We'll figure it out. And I'm also changing something with my holiday stuff. I'm going to let you guys know. Shout out to Mick for this one. So Thanksgiving, instead of trying to give you guys a bunch of Thanksgiving movies, just the week of Thanksgiving or getting closer to that week, I'm going to just drop some stuff those, when it gets closer. Do a few movies. You already know Thanksgiving on that Tuesday, but you're going to get a few other things. So that's what's going to happen with that. And with Christmas, we're going to do, because it's horror, fuck 12 days of Christmas. Let's add an extra day. So 13 days of Christmas. Tie it in with the 13 kind of days away. I'll try to figure that out. But yeah,
dude, you have so many new movies for Christmas to do too. There's so many new horror Christmas movies coming out.
That's besides Halloween. Christmas is the other holiday where you get a lot of that holiday horror.
Yeah, absolutely.
Look at that.
He is.
Jason Ritter.
What was the other one?
Versus Dream Demons, and that makes me happy.
What was the other one?
You don't say. I don't know. Well, yeah, what was the other one?
I love Jason Ritter. I loved his dad. I love all of the Ritters. But not in the Freddy vs. Jason sequel that was eventually turned into a comic book, Freddy vs. Jason vs. Ash, the 2 human characters die like immediately.
They should though, with something like that, because that's, that's
I don't know. I do like this movie a lot, but I think I like this movie for the same. I don't know. It's kind of like a syndrome that horror fans I feel like have. Like they'll hate something when it comes out, especially if it touches on their nostalgic or disrupts their idea of nostalgic.
Mm-hmm.
And then they'll hate those things and then give it 10 or 15 years. And then they love those things. I am like, and most of us here are the same way. I'm just speaking for me though. I mean, we all remember growing up in the 80s. We all remember growing up in the 90s, especially horror fans. You didn't talk about that shit. So who knew what everybody liked unless you were friends? And there was no IMDb to give you more. So when you have something like this come out, such fan service years later, and it's like, it just, for me, when it first came out, is there music playing? Like, am I playing music? Oh, it's the clown. Sorry, threw me off. Sorry, I'm disrupted. I'm too high.
I'm sorry. No, you're fine. It's not that. It was great.
No, I lost my train of thought midway through, and I'm like, no, for me, like a movie coming out like this, it just, I like it because of the syndrome, because it's 10, 15 years later, we got a Freddy vs. Jason movie. But when I look back at it, it's got fun parts, you got some cool stuff, but it is really campy. And I think it went the wrong way in tone. It shouldn't have went like the horror comedy route. They should have went darker with these.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like it would have gotten a better. You know what? Let's dive into our ratings, then we can really dive into this filmage right here.
Me first. All right. Little warning. For this movie, overall, I'd probably give it a 6.
Fair.
I like it though. I want to point that out.
Let's see. I'm gonna say 7.5, just because you haven't seen Freddy in so long, and then they brought us this, and this is what we've been waiting for a long, long time. And we went and saw it in the theaters, and we actually had people that wanted Freddy to sit on one side, and people that wanted Jason to sit on one side, and then it was just a real fun experience.
Yeah,
nice.
I will remember that. I'm so glad you said that.
Nice.
Hey, as you guys know, this is one of my favorites. I love me some Freddy. I'm giving this one a 9, baby. 9.
Oh wow.
You just have a stroke? I give it a 7.5.
7.5 by Jason.
Thanks.
Happy Halloween. Happy Sturdoween. 6.
Is that the first non-10 you gave this whole deal?
No, there was a few more, but it may be one of my lower grades.
It's because it's a Nightmare on Elm Street movie, not a Friday the 13th movie. That's why he likes less.
I would argue. I'd argue the other way on that.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I would argue that this is a Jason movie, not a Freddy movie,
but
and
Jason
that's why you needed all these kids in it, because Freddy can carry a movie on his own.
Yeah, but Jason is the catalyst for Freddy. Like Jason is used to this entire movie to forward Freddy.
But it's a Freddy versus Jason movie, but I don't see more influence of Freddy in it than Jason. Most of the influence I see coming, like in the movie, the tone of the movie and the kills and how it kind of plays out. I mean, very much matches what we see in Jason.
I'm talking more story structure. Focuses more on Freddy.
I'd heard argue that too. Story wise, because I mean, I think that story wise, it kind of matches together really well, and kind of balances out really well. it's the idea of the concepts within the stories of how they met. Like I like what brings Jason in, and being able to control it, but all the elements to it, the hypnosil stuff, all that other stuff, I think it was poorly executed personally.
So I like all that stuff.
So, you know, I'm with you on a lot of that, Mick. And again, with the same thing I was saying earlier, and you were just saying, is that it should have had a darker tone to it. It should have had a more dark, serious tone to it. I'm not saying they couldn't have had the jokes in it at all, but I feel like it was too much with that. Way too much with that, honestly.
Yeah, as much as I love this movie, and I love this movie, is some of the dialogue, what we're watching it today, just really kills me. That goalie was pissed. It's like, come on, you can do a better line. And some of the explaining the plot too was a little much.
Well, for me, that character there was just like a straight Jason Mewes ripoff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Kevin Smith was killing it during that time.
Which they were in Scream 3 at the time, around the same time. Like this is a couple of years after, but Kevin Smith would have been approachable. Jay would have been approachable. Granted, they wouldn't really match for high school students, and you wouldn't want them running around. But adding that element in there, so my point being, if you added them in there, this would have made this more of a joke,
right?
I think unless you add them like Scream 3 did, where it was like kind of cool, like cameo, quick, whatever, it's out. But if you added them in there like they did this one character, it's a joke. So now if you add the carbon copy knockoff. It's even like at least let him be his own character. Stop trying to copy Jason Mewes, which I get Hollywood and I know how it works, but I think this movie should have been more Nightmare on Elm Street 3 and less Friday the 13th, personally.
Oh, explain.
Bring back Nancy. Bring back Nancy again. You've brought her back. She's been in 3 different movies now. She's deeply connected. You bring back Nancy for him. Maybe now she's investigating or something. Like you can do whatever you want with it. It can get crazy. She doesn't actually have to be dead, but either bring back Nancy or bring back somebody who's connected to that world or the old Freddy world. Make it darker. The reason I say Nancy is because I think it would have been better if when they went toe to toe, it really was the most vicious versions of themselves going toe to toe and remove all that martial arts shit and everything and just have like a really good brawl for all of what's happening, because and if I'm being honest, if you're gonna go this route, add an element of Rob Zombie in there with more of the gore. And what I mean by Rob Zombie is you put in this element of something's bringing them both there. Something wants these two entities to go and fight. What is it? And maybe these teens who are being affected because Freddy's pulling in power, he started by using Jason and maybe whatever. And you could open this up to quite a bit of things. And it could have been left open-ended to have more sequels and stuff like that and really play into it. But it should have been darker. Like I said, like with Nightmare on Elm Street 3 is the idea of touching back on the past, bringing it in, giving an idea why they're there, like and giving us a fighting chance. I felt like these kids were just running around the whole time like the Scooby-Doo gang in the middle of Freddy versus Jason. It didn't work for me. Like it made it again. I like the movie, but I like the movie the same way I like Freddy's Dead.
I get that. For me, I'm glad they went this route with this. I like the hypnosil thing because I like that they, like they said in the movie, they treated Freddy like a disease. Like they finally just decided to embrace it and take these dreams away from these kids. So he stopped showing up. I kind of like that element of this movie.
I did too. I really liked that too. And then him using Jason, it was a really good element to the story to bring these characters together, use them, bring Jason to Springwood. Or Springfield or whatever the fuck they are, wherever the hell they are, Elm Street, and
The Simpsons.
The Simpsons. There you go. And then you know that was a great element. I think that was a really thought out, well written element to this story of why this is playing out, and the kids being Elm Street kids' legacies and such, and him wanting to get to them. That makes sense. But were these the kids to do it? They were annoying as fuck.
They didn't bother me.
They were like, I know Jason Ritter, and I like Jason Ritter, and he's fine in it, but he's probably the most fine. Kelly Rowland was good too. So like, you can have some of these characters, but some of these characters damaged the horror element of this movie.
Jason Ritter looks like he's like 35 in this movie.
See, for me, that Brendan Fletcher kid, he's the one that I always remembered from this film than anything else. The dude that played Mark.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, with the brother, right? That's
yeah.
Oh yeah. And even then, like, he did a good job. He's a good actor though. He's been in a couple of really good stuff. And the brother, like, there's your element right there. The brother's an older, remembers from Elm Street, has been locked away. The little brother doesn't remember because the hypnosil worked.
Right.
And like, Jason's for some reason targeting them. And now, so let's let them investigate. Why is he targeting us? Go break the brother out, but get rid of these. But he's the focus now.
And he's the only person that Freddy actually killed.
Oh, Jesus Christ, you reminded me of that. I didn't even think about that. This movie goes down to a 4.
Back.
Dude,
No.
No.
Again, I like this movie, but when the cop says, "Oh, we've got a copycat of the Jason Voorhees killer," where does that come from? Like, there has to be more than serial killers in the United States in this world. That how do you suddenly go for Jason? Like, what is this? Jason doesn't have like an MO to just be like, "Oh yeah, that's Jason."
Did they ever mention a description?
So
they never mentioned a description, right?
No, nobody's allowed to give a description at that point.
Chad Man might know.
I think they're kind of leaving it for you to interpret that, hey, this guy said he's from out of town. He just got here. He might have been from the Camp Crystal Lake area or something like that. You know what I mean?
I think they do mention he's a new officer or something like that.
Yeah.
Lachlan Monroe. I like Lachlan Monroe. I like that element to it though. I don't know. Like, I feel like the teenager thing by this time was played out, and I don't think it worked. And I think that's what drags this movie down, because you have to, once you handle all of this and add this many teenagers, and the fact that this was a franchise that's like 10 years removed, and everything we've got since then, all of the movies we got since then that could be influenced to this, and we still got the basic archetypes to every Friday the 13th movie and every Nightmare on Elm Street movie.
Yeah, but if they had done anything different, audiences would not have liked it.
That you don't know that though, like, because when we liked,
but we did know
Nightmare,
the Nightmare on Elm Street remake and the Friday the 13th remake.
Those are remakes. That's a big difference. This is a versus battle.
That's not a Freddy versus G. Yeah, it's not a versus battle like he was saying. And
this is a different. This is honestly sequel to both series.
I feel if this was darker and the points that Mick was saying and stuff like that, I think people would have liked this a hell of a lot more. And then you have it based like he was saying, kind of based around the one kid and his brother, and kind of that's boom, story right there. Story connects. You get Jason there. He kills a bunch of kids. He kills a bunch of people. You can still have a bunch of those kill scenes, because those are like what I was saying earlier for Never Hike Alone 2, to have those throwaway kills so that the important kills mean more. Those throwaway kills, so you can have those big cool kill scenes, and then when those main characters get knocked off, it means like, oh shit, like, oh shit, they died type of deal, versus okay, well, these, you already know damn near everybody in the cast is gonna die. I mean, that's always happens. But again, give us those throwaways. Give us more of those throwaways.
And on it, to even add to that, and to add to my point earlier about like changing it up, Jason X came out a year before this, and it did terrible. And that is, besides being in space, that has every element of a Friday the 13th movie.
Wait. Jason X only came out a year before Freddy versus Jason?
Yeah, about 2002. This was 2003, right?
Oh, shit.
So, like,
Jason X is awful.
It's honestly, I would argue it's just as good as.
I love that
movie, guys. We will get there on Thursday for Jason X.
But no, Mick got me thinking. Like, it would have been fascinating if they had done the almost more of a sequel to New Nightmare, and used Jason as Freddy's way to try to pull himself back into the real world, maybe. And then they could have gone with that more scary version of Freddy, I think. But
you needed Freddy to have the dream world the dream world type of thing to pull Jason there and for him to be remembered and all that.
You've also already fucked. Oh, sorry, Sturdy. I thought you were.
Just because if he's pulled into the real world and if he's killed in the real world, I feel like wouldn't he be done?
Well, my biggest argument with this is too, like, I'm talking myself out of this movie. Arguably, you have the scariest looking Jason in it. Maybe 7 is really like push because 7 is really fucking good look. So 6, but this was a good looking Jason in terms of costume. I didn't love, but Jason's just Jason, you know. But it's a big improvement on 9. You know, goes to hell. So to come back and have this, but it's even like Jason, what you're saying, like telling me, you know, the fans would have gone crazy. They didn't though. Kane Hodder wasn't in it, and that's where you really would have had if you were really doing this for the fans.
Mm-hmm.
You would have really had them.
About it.
That's my biggest gripe about this movie.
Exactly. So
that's a huge one.
You can change it up, and in fact, I think if they did change it and make it darker, more fans wouldn't have cared that Kane Hodder was in it.
That's actually Kane's biggest gripe about this movie too.
And he was supposed. The thing about it is, remember reading this book and watching that documentary, he was supposed to be in this movie. I forgot what happened and why he wasn't, but he was supposed to be the Jason in this movie. And I mean, there was because he was hyping it up. Him and Robert Englund were doing a bunch of shit together.
I thought they were doing a tour together. I was like, wait, I thought Kane was in
I think it came down to a studio thing. I think the studio interfered.
I don't remember what it was.
He was supposed to be when they were planning it when they did 9, and he was in it. And they were talking. They had been talking about this movie. There were versions of this script since before Jason Goes to Hell.
Oh, wow.
And they kept rewriting the script for years. And you know, when they first started talking about it and Jason Goes to Hell was being filmed and everything, Kane, it's gonna be you versus Freddy, it's gonna be great. Then 10 years, however many years it was later, they just don't call him. They just didn't go. They're like, we're gonna just do it.
I think it was a mistake. Nothing against the gentleman who played Jason, but I just think it was a mistake because one, you're not doing the fans a service at fucking all, like at all, and that right there, it makes no sense. I mean, he was the most popular to play. I mean, he played him multiple times. He was the most popular to play Jason, so it's like, why not do it up? You already told him he was going to be it. They were already talking about it, rumors and all this other stuff. And people were excited as hell. Like, oh, shit. Yes. And then they do that.
Well, the reason that I'm seeing online is that then this is bullshit if it's true, is that the guy that played Jason and Freddy vs. Jason was 2 inches taller than Kane Hodder, and that's why they cast him.
Well, that way I've heard that too. Like his height played into it.
But 2 inches, is it really that much?
They also said too they were looking for like just a bigger stunt man, and they saw that he had Jason's credentials because he was Kane's stunt man in Takes Manhattan.
That's fair. He was also the guy in Jason Takes Manhattan, which I'll say on Thursday if I remember. But the scene where he's in Manhattan, I'll say that in quotes, at the bar where he throws the dude up against the window, the big dude. That's the guy who plays Jason in Freddy vs. Jason.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's Kane Hodder and 9. You mean, right? Or which one?
No. Ken Kersinger was he was in a scene in Manhattan, but he was also Kane's stunt man. Whenever Kane got hit by the car or Jason got hit by the car, they didn't want him to do it in case he got hurt.
You know who else is in this movie? What's his name? The dude who owns InfoWars.
Nice.
I don't know who that is.
The dude who's like always yelling and he's like really angry. He's like, "Oh my god, can you believe the fucking things or whatever?"
Before I forget, all you kiddies out there in the chat, make sure you leave your comments and let us know what was your favorite Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street. Which one do you think is the most formidable of each entity? And what do you think about this movie right here? Don't forget to leave that while we're over here having a great conversation.
This is the dude who's in the movie. So this is the Tarnish. This is the dude who is the Sandy Hook denier.
Excuse me.
And he played the dad who gets his head chopped off in this movie.
Oh, man. That was a cool scene, by the way.
Oh, my God. You're right. That is him.
That's the guy.
Oh, yeah.
Real? Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Who was that?
That's the dude who played the dad who got his head cut off.
Alex Jones. Yep.
In what movie?
And this one.
Oh yeah, on the porch. That's right.
Yep.
Chris, stop playing with Cliff and pay attention to the show.
I'm just turned on, Jason.
Oh
Jesus
my
Christ.
gosh.
So please tell me that's not your costume for the next show.
Then I won't tell you.
Because you got to go as a movie character you hate.
I hate this guy.
You should go as hallway zombie number 17 in Zombies, strippers versus zombies.
There you go.
I'm gonna watch that tonight.
You should. I was hallway zombie number 17.
We should have sent him a werewolf mask. Boom. Weed wolf. Perfect.
Weed wolf. Oh my god. This is
Perfect.
such a go paste whiskers to your face.
No.
We'll call you the weed wolf.
No.
Paste whiskers to your face. Just howl every now and then. Just howl. Be high and howl.
I still got some of my hair that I pulled off. So if I had some hairspray and I would have stretched them out today, sprayed them down, glue.
That would have been hilarious. Like, what is he? He's weed wolf. He's high as hell and he's a werewolf. He made his costume high on top of that. So,
now, if I would have had a wolf, honestly, like, if I'm pretending to be any wolf, it's gonna be weed or wolf cop.
Oh, jeez.
that was a good one. That was a fun one. Funny.
That was a fun
Canadian.
one. You know what also was a fun one? This movie right here.
It is a fun one. This is like the example of a fun movie. It's not necessarily good. It's not bad, but it's fun. That's what I got from this.
I would love to see this in theaters again. I remember seeing it in theaters. I had such fun watching it with fans.
It was a good time, especially like whenever you separate the crowd.
Yeah, I'd like to see any of these movies we've done again in theaters with fans.
This is one of those movies where the rare occasions you had a very cool thing going on with it. Like you got to the theater and it's like half the people are dressed as Jason, half the people are Freddy, and they're like fighting. Remember when Civil War, the comic book came out?
Mm-hmm.
Comic book shops would have like pro-registration people there and anti-registration, and then it'd have this whole big thing. It was like crazy. This movie did that too. I will give it credit for its marketing and things like that it did.
Yeah.
This movie really did pull in a lot of people. That's why I think I'm so, again, I like it, but I'm annoyed that it could have been so much better.
Oh, hell yeah.
It was always the $1 million question that all of us horror fans had anyway.
Yeah.
I could have sworn this had the record for a while.
It had an opening number record because back then it was like 100. I think the total box office was like 116, which Spider-Man made in its opening weekend. So,
Yeah.
But arguably, this probably should have done just as well.
Yeah, but also 20 years passed, you know what I mean? So
No. Spider-Man from 2001.
Oh, gotcha.
Oh,
McGuire.
Yeah.
I could
It
see
had the highest grossing opening weekend ever.
Did I just
at the
break
time?
I could see why though. With that, but I'd say just a bigger fan base. As big as the horror fan base is, I feel like with that, because the reason I say it's because you have more kids that watch that as well as adults that watch it, because it's just more acceptable for your child to watch Spider-Man versus Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street. For those, so.
Man, that Spider-Man movie has some blood and killing and shit in it, stabbing and blowing up and incinerating people.
That is true.
That Spider-Man has some dark shit happening.
But I don't think it was as crazy what happens in these, or even I even say how it's portrayed or how it's hyped up the peeps. Happy Halloween.
Mad at the Freddy pillar?
Say that again.
Anybody mad at the Freddy pillar?
The Freddy what?
The Freddy pillar, the caterpillar Freddy.
I thought it was funny.
Freddy pillar.
I think it fits this movie.
I thought it was funny. The Freddy pillar.
That
Actually,
scene was pretty funny, but
it was something. It was something. They got the guy high and just. Again, I wish it was darker. That's my biggest gripe about it. Make it darker and add in the stuff Mick said, and it's going to be a better movie, better story. And I think a lot of the fans would talk about this more, because this one's not talked about a lot. I've like you talk about both of these films, I don't hear this one talked about a lot.
It's starting to. More people are starting to talk about it.
Jason X brought up more than this movie.
I
Jason X is a fun one. Jason X is a fun one. It's out there, but it's not the best movie.
Give it
more people talk about this than Jason X.
Give it 10 years, and then every horror fan in the community will have discovered this movie. Because as far as I'm concerned, when it comes to the horror community, every fan's like, have you ever seen this movie? It's amazing. Yeah, I've seen it. It's Nightmare on Elm Street 3, dude. I've seen it. No, but it is amazing. Yeah, no, it's Nightmare on Elm Street 3, dude. I get it.
I get it, though. I get it. Especially if it's someone's first time watching. They're just excited. Like, yo, you got it. Like,
get excited about it. Stop telling me you discovered it.
See, this is why I like the beginning.
What I miss about that, though? You know what I do miss is I missed the first time watch of a horror movie that I just absolutely loved and enjoyed, and just like, oh my God. Like, you can go back to them and watch them, still love them and enjoy them, but it's just going back to that first time watch, and then like at the end of that movie, you're just like, yo, wow, that was so fun. That was just incredible in my opinion for whatever reason. And you don't know what's going on because obviously it's your first time seeing it. That's just something. It's priceless.
Chadman had something.
No, I was saying that's why I like the beginning of this movie, because like for the newer horror fans that are starting out with this, they actually tell you how Freddy became the way he is again.
Which I love. I love when horror movies do that. It's funny because I hate when comic book movies do that. Like Batman does it all the goddamn time. But I love when horror movies do that because they always like it. That is their chance to retcon it. Right. You know, fix the little things, and you get so many fun stories, especially because fans are putting out theories and stuff. And Marvel's starting to catch on to that after however many years. But I'm starting to really dig. I really dig that, and I dug that about this, because if this is your first watch, I get it. You know, in the series, go back and enjoy it. But at least you got that.
Well, even like if you don't know who Freddy or Jason really are, like they kind of give you the backstory of Freddy, then they go back and get like the backstory of Jason as like Freddy's trying to manipulate Jason. They show his mom and everything. He turns into his mom and tells Jason he has to go to Elm Street to kill these kids. So then like you kind of get like the feel of where both these characters came from if you have like no like viewpoint on their.
No, that's very true. Though you do kind of get a brief thing of it. But I'd still say go back and watch both of these franchises all the way through, and then watch this.
Definitely.
Go back and do what we did all week, all month.
Yeah.
I'm actually glad they didn't go dark with this. I like this movie as it is.
Dude, I'm not taking your opinion. Sorry, can't take your opinion. You like everything. You are literally, if this was a 90s like movie about a bunch of kids, like maybe.
But I think I'm speaking for the general audience when this movie came out, because this is the Freddy we wanted to appear in this movie.
No, I disagree. And I think the proof is in the pudding, because it did well. It was never not going to do well, and I think that's always the biggest argument. Is like, of course it did well. There's a base. It's a franchise. It's revisiting, but it didn't do as well as it should have, even in the time.
Mick, so then which Freddy do you think we got here?
This easily between 4, 5, and 6. You take your pick. That's the Freddy we got.
No, I think he was dialed down a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think he was as goofy.
Okay, maybe 4.
No, he's closer. He was close.
With the elaborate kill.
I was saying closer to 4, but between 3 and 4.
I would not 2 then. I will not. If you say I will argue. I will argue immaturely and leave the show if you say this was a Freddy that matches the Freddy from the first one, the third one, or New Nightmare. If you say one of those 3 things to me, just because there's reminiscent views of those movies in this movie, they're pulling from the best Freddy movies into this movie. But this Freddy was not any of those.
He was not the Freddy from 1 and 7. I'm just saying he was close to the Freddy from 3, because Freddy
think he was, though,
had the jokes.
I think he was just nerfed down because he didn't have his powers yet, so he couldn't just kill the kids. He kept trying and kept failing. Once he got his full power, he got pulled out, so we didn't get to see Freddy be full-fledged Freddy with his power of being able to kill people.
All right. I'm sorry. What I meant to say was, all those karate kicks that he learned in part 3 came in real handy in this one.
One thing that did bug me,
he was so silly in personality. No, and that was the funny part, because if you watch 4, 5, and 6, he's not the silliest part of those movies.
6 he is.
I would even argue he's the one, maybe the reason it's all silly.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't say he's the silly part. Sillier than 1, 3 or New Nightmare. This Freddy fits in more with those, in my opinion, or at the very least, the second one.
The second one, he doesn't have any jokes though.
Exactly. That's why I didn't say the second one in the first place. But you guys are arguing.
All I said, I didn't say he was the same Freddy from 3. I just said he's somewhere between 3 and 4, like Chad said. I agree with that. Tone wise,
so similar.
Yeah.
The one thing I didn't like about this that bugs me though is like once he gets pulled out of Dreamland, he still has all of his powers, but in like all the other ones, he was always like helpless. Like he was just a regular person. And this one here, he fucking Matrix jumps out of water.
They had
lands on a
not
dock.
Matrix jumps out of water. Do you not remember the high knees that he was Jean-Claude Van Damming to Jason's face in this movie?
Mm-hmm.
Because he's clearly just as good as the one that went up against the Dream Warrior.
Well, let me ask you guys this question, because there's no other way they can fight. Because if Freddy comes out of the dreams, he's a human, and so there's no way.
He's sneaky. He's always been sneaky. He's a pedophile. You know, he's used to hiding in the shadows and not alerting anyone he's there. If anything, he's human and he has the jump on it. And I would have loved to have seen a dark Freddy in Camp Crystal Lake stalking Jason while Jason has been getting served by him the whole time in the dream world. And then finally Jason unleashes and you get the real brawl. And that's where Freddy can't stand up to it.
See, I get what you're saying. I would have loved to see that too, but I don't think the general audiences would have wanted Freddy that different when he was fighting Jason. I think I
don't give a fuck about the general audiences, because the general audiences give us things like 4, 5, and 6.
I know.
I'm sorry. I know I'm an asshole on this. But if you're sacrificing a story for what the audience wants, fuck it. I don't care. I'm a purist in that, and I'm a snob. It says it. I run with it. I'll even put on the hat that says snobs on it. So my point here being, we don't always fix things. Sonic sometimes is good enough. We need to shut the fuck up. You know, like, yes, there are certain elements I could see, like, we want to see something like this the first time. We're fans. But tell a good story with it. And this wasn't a great story. A lot of it's choppy. A lot of it doesn't make sense. A lot of characters are added that don't need to be there, that take away from everything we see. We get less Freddy and Jason time because of it. And I don't give a shit when Monica Keena's running around fucking screaming, "Fuck you, Freddy." Like, I don't care. Why are you in this fight? Go away. You're not even a part of like the original. Like, go away. Like, I want to see Freddy versus Jason. And I want to see it dark. And I want to see it make sense. And this movie just didn't make sense.
I think the humans should have all died before they started fighting, personally.
Yeah, that would have been good, but you can't, like, and I'm not being sarcastic to you. You're right. That's why I'm agreeing with you when I say these things. Mm-hmm. And listen, I'm a horror fan, so I get it. There are things I want to see. Ash versus the Evil Dead, the TV show, is the best fan service horror fans ever fucking got, because it's exactly what we wanted, and it worked.
That's how Chucky is. Like, those
that is the rarest fucking circumstance. That is the rarest circumstance. And when we are screaming and calling for what we want in a movie, the writers and the producers and the filmmakers who are making this movie need to say, well, first and foremost, we need to make a good story. We can't skimp out. We can't have certain elements in here that don't work. We can't have certain character traits, karate kicks in the fucking thing. Like, and I realize that I'm fixated on that, but it's a bigger point to it. And I understand. But let me ask this as well. Freddy had to start somewhere, right? And he can invade dreams. Those are the only kids he can invade their dreams. It has to be Springfield, Ohio, or Springwood, or whatever.
Elm Street.
On Elm Street. It has to be that, because he already proved in 6 it doesn't.
Well, yeah, the only reason he was able to leave is because he had to jump in his daughter's body.
There's an Elm Street in every place, though. And he
did mention that. And
But he said he couldn't leave. He needed her to leave. And
there's an Elm Street 3 blocks away from my house.
That was the plot, was that he needed her. That's why he needed that guy to bring her to him.
And I understand, and that works to an extent. But they have established this in other films where like he's powerless, or he even died at one point.
Oh no, I agree.
And a dog pisses and he comes back. Like, I'm fine with the very thin story elements to horror movies, especially in the 80s, because it seems like everything was just being written in like 5 seconds. But in reality, that's why movies like this don't work in 2003. We're smarter audiences. All of your audiences that were watching the original are now grown up.
Yeah. And
they want a good story. If we're going to see something after the 10, 11, 12 years or whatever it is, and we're going to see this character we love, and this is the shit we get, and the other character that we love, we got Jason X the year before, which arguably, again, the syndrome causes me to love now. But back in the day when I first saw that, I was like, this is fucking stupid.
Yeah.
You know?
But
Demand
the only thing that I hated about part 6 is they never clarify how does he get that guy anyway to manipulate him to drop him off in the neighborhood to start bringing back his memory. You know what I'm saying?
Six has a lot of problems, Chris. Man, I mean, to your argument, man, they did write a better script. It's called the Nightmare on Elm Street remake, and nobody went to see it.
And now but now I question, why did nobody go to see it? Did nobody go to see it because these movies weren't as good?
No, they didn't go see it because it's not the Freddy they know.
I'm gonna argue it. I have to go back. I gotta do a deep dive in this. I don't have all the answers now, and I'm not gonna pretend to. But I'm gonna tell you now. I'm wondering because that was a good movie.
This is what ruins it. You get a bunch of people that do go to see the movie, and then they give their advice or their, oh yeah, it was different. They fucked up Freddy, so then everybody, half the people are like, never mind, I'm not going to waste my time.
Yeah, I mean, Sturdy and Chad are examples of, it's not the Freddy I know. The face, like, it's different. I don't want to see.
Well, yeah, but I still went and saw the movie. It's just when I seen it, that really took me out of the movie. But
that's again, what I'm saying, though. You change something,
but they came to those
watching it with this through this whole,
I'm guilty of it too because I didn't like the movie either. But I'm just saying, you change something and freaking audience goes nuts.
And arguably, now I'm looking at the numbers. It's not. It did the same amount that Freddy. Actually, it did better than Freddy vs. Jason.
What did Jason X?
No, the remake of Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, but people
did 1 million better. Dude, I will never go by critics when it comes to horror films.
I'm not talking about critics, but the fans, they talk more favorably about Freddy vs. Jason than they do the Nightmare on Elm Street remake, and that's miles better.
Wait, what? Nightmare on Elm Street? It's not it's good. It's not miles better.
Miles better than Freddy vs. Jason? Yeah, it is.
Yeah, all right. I will argue that. It is a better movie. Dude, I don't, and they can speak favorably to it. I don't know whether it's the syndrome that I speak on, but everything that I see kind of pulling together, it's all the very similar opinions. And now my fucking mind is awoken. Now that I know I love Nightmare on Elm Street remake, my mind's awoken.
Oh, me too, man. I went on a rant on my show trying to get people to watch that movie. I am promoting it everywhere.
Stop saying Freddy versus Jason's good, so maybe we'll get a good Freddy versus Jason movie.
I liked it. I think it's fun.
Good is good. Great is great. You know what I'm saying? It's okay to say it's good because it has its flaws, but we could do better. Yeah.
This is what's fun about
debating those eyes.
Movies is so
and that's why I love doing this shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I can't, like, we should have gotten a better movie than this. When there's like 15 different drafts, like finished drafts of this story, and I've read and looked at other synopsises from those drafts, and they are better than this. This is what you came out with. That's what pisses me off. Also, treat this like it's a fucking event. Treat it like it's an epic. You are bringing two icons, arguably the two biggest horror icons of all time, together for the second time after it was teased in 9 and we really wanted it. You bring in fucking Wes Craven. You bring in somebody to come in here and direct this. Not Ronnie Yu, who you've barely ever heard from again.
Wes Craven wanted nothing to do with this.
But okay, you don't. You know what? You put enough money in his pocket, he wants something to do with this. I guarantee it.
True.
And there's
That's true.
plenty of other great
Enough
directors
creative
of that
control.
time.
And if it's not about money, it might be about creative control.
All right, get Mark Nispel. He directed Friday the 13th remake, and he directed the Texas Chainsaw remake.
There you go. Get Kevin Williamson to write it.
Friday the 13th remake came out before this. Granted, they were both being made around the time, but they had to know that he was a hot commodity if they gave him that. But there's other filmmakers that are out there as well, veteran filmmakers that I would gladly stepped in if you paid him the money.
Oh, of course. Of course. Of course. With that.
Or better writer too.
But and that's the thing too that you think about too. Is I'm like, this is such this movie right here could have been one of those ones that's so iconic that could have possibly. I'm not saying it would have definitely happened because of course money, but could have possibly just, you know what, this movie's so good we don't need to make any more of either one of these. The battle's over. But again, of course, money's gonna money. They were making the remakes around the same time that this one came out anyway. So I guess that kind of defeats that argument. But still, this was just. I was expecting so much more when I first seen this. I was expecting so much more. Do like it a little bit better now, but I was expecting like this just to be like this, oh shit, unforgettable film. Like I don't even when I go back to watch Friday the 13th, I don't really think about watching Freddy vs. Jason too much. If I'm like if it's like I'm going to watch, like there's been times where I planned but didn't go through with it, like watching Nightmare on Elm Street and then watching Friday the 13th or watching Freddy vs. Jason as the bridge gap just because. But I like the way we did it this way better, but this isn't one I go back to much.
I usually watch 1, 2, 3, 7, and this for Freddy, and then Jason. I was up till 6, and then I would just skip to this, but I like 7 now, so we'll see what happens with 8, 9, and 10.
Yeah.
Well, if I could just make like one more point to this too, like I realize I'm sort of on a rant, so just tell me to shut up and I'll shut up. But
fuck it, rant.
Like for this, Freddy vs. Jason makes 116 at the box office. So it's big for that time, for 2003. And to go with it, and it was on a $30 million budget. That's astronomical compared to the budget. Now, to kind of compare, Nightmare on Elm Street remake was 117 in the box office, was 7 years later, and it was 35 million for budget. So $5 more million on top of it, and we did get a better storied movie. So you can pay your people, you can get good actors to step in. It is possible to achieve that. My biggest gripe to kind of put these two, you know, sort of head to head again, ironically, for the final time, I think my biggest argument here for Freddy versus Jason in this movie is that, again, yeah, I know I've talked about the story, but like there's something missing here that the fans could have gotten. I'm telling you, this isn't what the fan service we deserved or needed, and it did well enough to get a sequel. So you're going to tell me you listened to the fans about the sequels, but you didn't listen to them about what they wanted? What's the point then?
Just to get our asses in the seats.
What movie was this?
What?
What movie did you say just got a sequel?
No. It didn't get a sequel. What I'm saying is they were always willing to pump out sequels as long as they were doing well, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This movie did almost $100 million over its budget.
Right.
So why didn't it get a sequel? So like obviously they were listening to the fans and the critics and what everybody was saying. They teased it, so they obviously had an idea for it, at least to keep it open.
Yep.
But they never gave us a sequel. Why not? So they didn't listen to the fans in making the movie, but they're listening to the fans and they're not going to make any more of the movie?
I know with the sequel, they commissioned a script and they were going to do it. And then I saw somewhere that they decided to reboot the franchises instead because of rights issues. But I don't, that's what I read online. So take it with a grain. I know that there is a sequel script because I turned it into a comic book. It's called Freddy vs. Jason vs. Ash, and it is great.
Yeah. Yeah. And
where's that movie?
Don't argue that either, because that's what you needed. If you had Freddy versus Jason versus the Evil Dead or Ash or whatever, which they set up in 9, Jason's a Deadite, Freddy's there, they're in the same thing. You add Ash to this, you don't need any stupid fucking teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
You can go all out. I don't know. Fucking now I'm mad, Sturdy. 9 weeks of this shit.
I think, you know, no offense, but I think they needed the teenagers because they needed people for them to kill. So, but I do agree they could have chosen better people.
They killed majority of the people that weren't a part of that group. They killed like hundreds of people, and they weren't even in the group. You know, like, so you can kill as many people as you want. Like, okay, Freddy and Jason fight in Rome.
That rave party scene was a free for all.
I love that rave party scene.
Yeah. You know, it's funny, as I agree with everything Mick says. I still enjoy the movie, but I totally agree. Like, we could have gotten better. Like, we as horror fans, sometimes we don't deserve what we get.
No, fuck that. Fuck that. Because we spend time watching these movies. We spend our hard-earned money to buy these movies. Go watch them in theaters. We deserve what we expect and what we pay for.
You're talking about us here, but I'm talking about the majority of the people that go and watch these movies in theaters. Sometimes we don't know what we. Sometimes, yeah, like Mick said, we don't know what we want. Sometimes you just got to give us better. And I think both of these movies warranted a sequel. And I think the studios should have made that sequel to the Nightmare on Elm Street remake because, again, they made money.
Yeah.
That could never also be a bad thing.
That could be a very bad thing because then they're just, you know.
If you look at what else those Nightmare on
Elm Street cash grab movies are rough.
Yeah, but the writers on that Nightmare on Elm Street remake have done some incredible stuff.
This wasn't a cash grab movie. You can tell they made the best version of a film they were allowing themselves to make.
I mean, if they made a sequel, that would be more of a cash grab than anything.
And the marketing
I disagree if you do it right, but it would have been because this was a cash grab
at the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
well, horror was in a weird place at the time.
Yeah.
But the marketing for this was super genius. They were like superstars. They were like two people really going into like the arena, going into a boxing match type deal. They did great with the marketing on it.
Yeah.
Well, that's because they knew everybody in their 20s and 30s and 40s was trying to see this shit forever.
Give me the Freddy and Jason of the remakes for Freddy vs. Jason.
The remakes?
Yeah, give me those two. Both vicious.
I could see that. I mean, I wouldn't be mad at that.
Yeah, I would say like the remake Jason, in my opinion, is better and more lifelike than the Jason in this movie.
Yeah.
For me, he was just a meat sack and a jumpsuit with a hockey mask on. Like, he had like no personality. That's why I think Kane is always going to be one of the best because he always brought like the character to actual life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Freddy and Jason in this movie are the Freddy and Jason that general audiences know. They're the stereotypes of Freddy and Jason.
Yeah, so that was going to be my question.
Kane, I'd say Kane. Kane,
yeah, not the Jason part.
Or the Jason.
Kane, Jesus Christ!
I'm talking outside of horror. I'm talking outside of horror. Like the people that don't know horror. This is what they think of when they think of Freddy and Jason. Freddy's a wisecracker and Jason's dumb.
So, all right. I asked earlier, which version of Freddy did we get? What version of Jason did we get? Because this was definitely not towards the end. No 6 or no 7, 8, 9. That's for sure.
It was just a regular new reboot Jason.
Mm-hmm.
I'd argue it was pretty close to 3.
Yeah, 3 or 4.
Maybe even Jason X. You know, just similar.
Before the robotics?
Friday the 13th 5.
Yeah, that's who it was. It was Friday the 13th Part 5 because it wasn't fucking him.
To me, it was more like Michael Myers with the Jason mask on.
That would have been great if at the end he took off the hockey mask. It's like, it's me, and it's not even Halloween.
That would have been wild. What the fuck? What did we get?
Michael movie
Myers
altogether.
Yeah,
that is a Scooby-Doo episode.
Scooby-Doo.
Do you think if they would have nerfed Freddy to be just a basic human when he did come out, if it would have been one of those things that, because he was able to kick his ass in his world because he was down in the dream world when he cascaded the water over him and all that. But do you think if they wouldn't have evened the playing field, it would have been as interesting as the last act?
No, Jason would have slaughtered Freddy Krueger.
Yeah, I think so too.
If they didn't give him.
I mean, but like Mick was saying earlier, how Freddy's sneaky and all that, you can have that element. You can have his sneakiness element to it, and you can also have that towards the end of the movie, though, more where he's
a skinny dude who preys on children, not even teenagers, children. He would have been. He does
teenagers after a while.
He's like a sly weasel.
Yeah, he would have been slaughtered by Freddy or Jason. Jason would have skinned him like a cow.
Well, then why didn't he do it with this one here? He should have been able to do that with this here. When he's pulled
Because he
into
knew
real
all
life.
those cool karate moves.
Because he had his powers. They brought his powers into the real world. So
Yeah, that's really fucked up.
he even the play. Well, I mean, that's the only way to make the movie. You can't just have Freddy jump out of a dream and Jason's cut
Well,
him in half and it's over.
you could have after you have Jason or Freddy get remembered, you could have had Jason in the dream world longer, up to the point of, and we're seeing him in the dream world instead of seeing the kids. We're seeing what's going on in the dream world.
If you keep him in the dream world, Jason loses and Freddy wins.
Well, you don't have to kill him in the dream world.
If you
because
pull Freddy
Jason would be
out of the
alive.
dream world, then Jason wins because Freddy should be human.
Yeah,
But
You could still do that.
that nobody wants to watch that movie because it's over in like a second. But we pulled Freddy out. He's cut in half. It's over. Let's go.
but you can even pull Freddy out pretty much the same way. And then just after that, it's just
He's
you know,
dead.
now Jason has the upper hand and just destroys him.
Yeah, nobody wants to watch that. I mean, you want to watch that because you're the Jason stan. You just want to watch Freddy die. Like, and that
No,
would be
what
the-
I'm saying is if it's going to make it work, because Jason should be able to survive in the dream world a little bit longer than just a regular human. But he just gets fucked up through it all to where he's damn near dead. I'm not saying through the whole part, but you have that being longer. You have that fight being longer.
I mean, he
And
got
maybe,
pinballed.
maybe that's where you can tie in where Freddy's hunting Jason at Camp Crystal Lake is if he's in Jason's dreams.
I'm just saying, there's no real good way to do the fight in this movie realistically without doing something ridiculous on either side.
Well, who
I
was
just
everybody's
mentioned-
favorite character out of the two?
Oh, man, Jason.
In this movie?
Yeah.
That's
In
Freddy.
this movie, it's Freddy.
See,
Yeah,
I'll
it's gonna be
always say
Freddy
like
for me.
I'm more of a Freddy guy, but I think the Friday the 13th films are a tad better. But
Jason is.
I wanted Freddy to win this, but even at the end, like after it's all said and done, and like fucking Jason's holding Freddy's head and he winks, that shit pissed me off. Just because I know fucking it's not the dream world, so why is he even still alive?
again.
Well, but in fairness to that, and I'm not arguing your point, I agree with you, but he came back so many times, even when he wasn't in
Right.
the dream world got killed. So there's like even a
Yeah.
base for that. Where
It's
it
just
doesn't
weird
make
though,
sense.
because I mean, like you know, like he's not there this time, so like, what's even the point of doing all that?
I just hate when they do that in the nightmare movies where they're just like, you have to pull him out so you can kill him. He's human, and they say it like 5 or 6 times, and every time he comes back, and I get it, I get how it works, but
Right.
it's like, can you change it up then at least?
But even at the
Yeah.
end of those, though, you think he's really dead because it's fucking end credits. There's no like little gay, little like goofy little wink or whatever at the end of it.
You
Like,
would
hey,
think-
I'm not really dead. I'll be back.
Well, I mean, it
okay.
goes with the whole. We're gonna
They
give
just
him
made the
power.
movie seem
All
pointless.
right. So check this out. The next one, they're gonna come up with the idea to actually take Freddy, pull him out of the dream, and then fucking cryostasis his ass so that for eternity he can never die again to redo his magic shit again in people's dreams.
You see, I knew going into Freddy vs. Jason, there was no way one of them was winning at the end. I knew it was going to be one. They were both going to survive one way or another.
It was one of those things where again everybody you see that he winks, there's gonna be a sequel, and then shit.
Right. Still
Wow.
waiting.
At the end of the Mario
but-
movie,
but we do live in a time where sequels come out 20, 30, 40 years later, guys. So let's just give it a few more years. Let's 2029 is
Those
not
aren't
here yet.
sequels, those are
Please
revivals.
no.
I don't know if that was
Please
meant
no.
to tease. I don't know if that was meant to tease a sequel. I think that's the fandom creating that notion that they're assuming, because that could just be the nod to I'm forever, like Freddy always says, and there's no way to get rid of me. And Jason is dead in the bottom of the lake, and he's holding Freddy, and Freddy's going, nope, we're just back where we are.
yeah, Chris, read.
No,
the,
it was definitely a nod to a sequel.
yeah, read the Freddy.
No, but I'm just trying to add other side of the debate to here. Jesus.
Chris,
I know,
read
I love
the Freddy vs. Jason vs. Ash. On the front of the book, there's a explanation of like the script that they made for the sequel and how it's now a comic book and so forth. It kind of talks about that. But no, they definitely wanted a sequel. They definitely wanted Ash involved. Yeah. Like
Did
Nick
you read
said,
the book?
I've read both of them, the second and
How do they bring Freddy back in the book? I never read those ones.
Oh man, it's been a while. They're expensive books. I don't remember how Freddy comes back. I think with the Necronomicon.
Yeah, that would make sense.
And there's an S mark suddenly in Crystal Lake. Ash matches working at it.
I have a lot of the Army of Darkness issues, but I don't have any of like the crossover ones.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I just watched Evil Dead 2 the other day. I gotta watch one, and then I'm gonna go to Army of Darkness. See what's up. It's been a while.
Army of Darkness is my favorite, but I think Evil Dead 2 is the best of those original three.
The first one.
Tree rate, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I just watch them all like pretty much as one long ass movie. Like if I watch one, I gotta watch them all.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, minus the last two, even though I do like the last two, but they just for me, it's the Campbell ones or nothing.
Dude, I love that 2013.
2013 is my favorite. Out of
But he's in every one.
Right.
So I mean, at least you get Campbell, like, my thing is like at least the filmmakers signed off on all of them.
Right.
Unlike these, you know, like Sam Raimi, Rob Tappert, and Bruce Campbell are all in on every sequel that's been made. They have a lot of control over it. So I really like I dig. That's why I think adds the element of good. You know,
this is
like,
the one series I watch and I like in order.
That's why.
That's fair.
Yeah, that's why the new Evil Dead movies feel like they're part of the same universe. Unlike like if you look at Nightmare on Elm Street 1, 3, and 7, you can tell they're made by the same person, and you could tell the ones that weren't made by Wes Craven. But in the Evil Dead universe, you know, it's very close.
I see what you're saying with that. Final thoughts on Frederick versus Jason?
One song to crossovers.
I didn't understand what you just said.
One song to crossovers.
Swan song, the crossovers. What about you, Jason?
This movie's fun. I agree with everything Mick said, and people need to watch the Nightmare on Elm Street remake. That's what I'm gonna be. I've put it down for 13 years. Again, Dan, I am so sorry for all the mean things I said to you about liking that movie, and I am a changed man. Like I'm questioning everything. I'm questioning everything. Like I know you go back and watch Independence Day 2 again because I fucking hated that movie.
No, it's not the same on everything. Don't listen to Dan on everything. He was right about this. He's not right about it. The guy hates Jaws.
Yeah, he's not right about Jaws.
He didn't like Independence Day 2, did he?
I don't know, but probably.
Oh my god, that could be the new movie.
Shout out to Dan, by the way. What about you, Chad?
The next one.
I like the movie. Like I said, I like that they gave Freddy the old, like, dirtier look than aside from New Nightmare. I didn't like the way Jason was, and I didn't like the fact they didn't use Kane, but overall, I think it's fun. I mean, the story's a little out there, but it's one of those films you can just kind of put on and just laugh and just chill out to.
It's got one of my favorite kills in the franchise.
Finally, a critic I'll listen to.
Who what?
And how about you, Mick? Your final thoughts on?
Chad put it perfectly. I mean, it's a fun movie. It's a fun movie. I'll still watch it. I'm glad that I got to watch it for this. Do I revisit on its own? No. Like a lot of this journey, like I'll always revisit the Friday the 13th, especially 1 through 8. There's just something special about that franchise. And Nightmare on Elm Street, very special as well. I find myself revisiting 1, 2, and 3 the most. But I'm not against any of them. They're, you know, even the bad ones are fun. 7's great too, yeah. But 7 doesn't get played as much as normal, and it's not my go-to. But yeah, this whole journey has just shown me one thing: like fucking Freddy's the better character, but I think Jason has the better movies.
I 1000% agree with that. And me and Mick have a new movie that we can watch that we know we now like.
Exactly. And listen, seeing as how we've all like watched movies and we're like, oh shit, this isn't so bad after all. We should all revisit 2 Girls, 1 Cup. But now I'm gonna give you guys my final thought on Freddy vs. Jason. Mick, I threw that in there for you. And I was actually gonna hold it there. Look, guess who has the cup?
I got a cup right here.
Bro, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10.
I just had a Wendy's Frosty.
5 dudes, 1 cup.
I got the Hershey's. I got the Hershey's and the Reese's. We got pink. We got smooth and we got chunky.
Somehow the scary clown made it worse.
That he definitely did. Definitely did. But no, very similar to what Mick and Chad said. Like, I did have fun with these films. It's definitely Kane Hodder not being in it took me away from it. That did take me away from it. Everything I was saying earlier about it not being as dark, the story, the connection, and again, going back to what Mick said earlier, just having those two brothers around those two brothers. And by brothers, I mean siblings, not brothers, just so we don't have this mixed up. if you were here before we started recording, you would know exactly what we're talking about. Me, Mick, and I think Jason and Chris were talking earlier.
All I said was two brothers came in Spider-Man, and he goes, like, actual siblings or like black people? And I'm like,
that's what I said. I didn't ask. I was curious.
So they came in Spider-Man?
They were just dressed in. Oh god, they came in Spider-Man.
He did. It just clicked. But guys, listen, I'm gonna wrap this one up because we have a very important, and special, and dope episode of the Scene Snobs coming up at 9 o'clock Eastern time. So we all want to get ready for that. Stretch, take a dump, let you guys do what you got to do before we get into this. But make sure you guys go over to the Scene Snobs 9 o'clock Eastern time and tune the fuck in for episode 300. Show them some love. Give them the congratulations that they deserve. 300 is a lot. 300 is a fucking milestone. 300 is something to be proud of. So let's clap it up for the Scene Snobs, everybody, and fucking tune in. Be over there at 9 o'clock Eastern time and have a great time. I'll see you in your nightmares. We're getting out of here. Peace.
Subscribe and win this. Subscribe and win this.
There you go. And subscribe to my YouTube channel, and you get a chance to win Terrifier 2. But Scene Snobs 9 o'clock. Peace.
Bye, kid.